Hey, it's Ashton Moore, coach of the Gen 7 Guard Chomps, and today we are fighting for a win against Abrant and his Milwaukee Breloomers. We are currently 2 and 4 in the standings, and in order to make playoffs, we need to win basically every game from here on, which is not going to be any easy feat given that Abrant is at the top of his division right now. But enough of that, let's look into how we are going to try to take him down. So as always, his team roster is in the top right, so you can kind of look at what he's got as I go through my analysis. Also in the bottom left is his icon. I think it's pretty freaking awesome. Uh, yeah, great icon. The best performer on the team so far has been Alolan Marowak, I think, hands down. So instead of running him the way we have been as a tank buster, we're instead going to run him as our actual sweeper this time around. So we're going to be running him max attack, max speed. Also have to go with a jolly nature. Basically, this will allow us to outspeed or actually speed tie Mega Ampharos if he happens to go like full speed on that thing, trying to go for like some sort of an agility set. That'll be pretty key because we'll be able to OHKO it with Bone Meringue. Flame Charge is basically going to be our setup move that's going to allow us to outspeed anything that's not named Kartana, but we have other plans for him. Other coverage moves, obviously going to be Boomerang. That's going to deal with our two electric types on his team, and potentially the Auroras if he happens to bring that, which I don't really expect. Shadow Bone's going to allow us to kill that Necrozma, as well as do a ton of damage to everything else. And then Knockoff is going to be here basically to hit the Gligar, get rid of the Eviolite in case he tries to set up rocks on it against the Marowak, expecting I'll switch out. And it can also get rid of Scarves off of Keymons if it's necessary. Obviously, I'm going to have to look out for knockoffs on his team if he brings Heracross or Hitmonchan, and also until we can outspeed Kartana, we're going to have to watch out for knockoff on Kartana. But this is our Marowak set. We're not going to run Flare Blitz. We don't really need it. The two main things that take fire damage here are going to be Tapu Bulu and Kartana. Flame Charge is really enough to deal with either one of them. Now we'll move on to our supporting cast. The first one's going to be Thunderous T. This is going to be our general anti-Milotic Mon with Thunderbolt Volt Switch, one allowing us to gain momentum and the other one allowing us to just outright kill the Milotic. That's going to be a key thing to get out of the way for Marowak to sweep. We're also going to be running Hidden Power Ice and Knockoff to potentially cripple the Gligar and potentially just remove items from things, because I don't think he'll really expect a Knockoff to come off of this particular Mon. Now you may note, he's wearing an Assault Vest. This is so he can survive and OHKO the Salazzle with Thunderbolt. That's the main reason why he's wearing one. This also allows him to survive Photon Geyser from Necrozma, which is a huge threat, and he can deal a minimum of like 60% damage with that Thunderbolt on the Necrozma. That's basically why we have that. Moving on, we're going to debut Weezing. I know it only took us 6 weeks in order to do it, but here we go, finally. This guy, with full defense, completely walls Tapu Bulu and Kartana, even if he runs Psycho Cut, which I am absolutely sure that he will. This is just going to be a general, tanky, standard Weezing build. Sludge Bomb and Flamethrower are to counter the two main things he's here to counter. Flamethrower also allows us to hit the Heracross, and we can also hit the Hitmonchan with Sludge Bomb, so he's kind of our counter to those as well, because they don't really have any good solutions for him. Toxic Spikes is here because he only really has 2 ways to get rid of them. If he has Salazzle, he can put Salazzle on the ground, and potentially he can defog with the Gligar. Those are really his only options. So if we can get those out of the way, Toxic Spikes is technically another way we could attempt to win the game from there if it comes down to stalling with Weezing. Hopefully it doesn't, but that's the idea. Moving on into another Kartana counter, we've got Celesteela. This is going to be kind of our alternate win condition. We've got special moves, 2 special moves, Air Slash and Giga Drain, which have very good coverage on his team. We're going to maximize our special attack to take advantage of that, and then we're going to run Autotomize. So we could Autotomize and then start sweeping him on the special side. Earthquake is here to counter the Ampharos and the Magneton. Now specifically, I have to have some additional attack investment in order to kill the Mega Ampharos with Ground DMZ Earthquake. That's why we're going with a Lonely Nature. That gives us just enough attack to guarantee the kill. Then we're investing everything else in a special attack and just enough into HP that we can survive a Magneton or a Mega Ampharos Thunderbolt post-Stealth Rocks. So that is kind of the idea behind this particular set. Hopefully, we could fake him out. He'll think, oh, hey, he's special, he's not running Earthquake, and then we hit him with the Ground EMZ Earthquake. That's kind of the idea here. Also, kind of like I mentioned at the beginning, this is another counter to Kartana. Kartana cannot hit this with literally any good move whatsoever, and we'll be able to kill him guaranteed with Air Slash every time. Doesn't matter what his investment is, unless he's Assault Vest, in which case I don't really care too much about it. Our last Kartana counter. And I know I'm prepping very hard for Kartana, but that is like his main way of beating me, is going to be Silvally Bug. So we're going to be running 3 supporting moves: Thunder Wave, Tailwind, Defog. Thunder Wave will allow us to cripple the Kartana or the Salazzle. We'll get into that in a second. Tailwind will allow us to set up both Celesteela, our last Mon, Kommo-o, and the Alola Marowak. So there's really nothing bad about running Tailwind on this guy. So the idea is to Thunder Wave something, and then immediately Tailwind after, let Silvally Bug go down, and then switch into something and start sweeping his team. Obviously, we're going to run Defog. He has a couple of different ways to set up Rocks, and Rocks is pretty good against this team because it will wear down the Alola Marowak, which I really don't want to have happen. If you look at his investment, he is max special defense, max HP, max defense, or leftovers in defense. The entire reason behind this is so that we can survive any special hit on his team. We can already survive any of the physical hits without investment, so that's fine. Short of Inferno Overdrive Fire Blast from the Salazzle, we will survive any other hit. That's the goal. Survive a hit, Thunder Wave, Tailwind. If we get more, that's great. U-turn is obviously there, just in case for some reason we get taunted. I don't remember if he had anything with taunt, but for some reason I was worried about that. It also allows us to take a big chip out of Necrozma, especially if it tries to set up a substitute and Swords Dance against us. This will prevent it from doing that. Our very last Mon is our dedicated tank buster for this time around. It is going to be Kommo-o, and we're going to be running him with Belly Drum. There's a couple different things we can set up against, mainly the Gligar and the Milotic, which is exactly what we do want to set up against. We're going to be running Drain Punch, Dragon Claw, Poison Jab. That will allow us to one-hit kill anything on his team, regardless of investment, after Belly Drum. Unfortunately, Drain Punch doesn't net as many one-hit KOs as we would like, especially against the Milotic. It's a roll if he's max defense, so hopefully I can hit the Milotic with another move ahead of time so that I can test to see whether Drain Punch will actually kill or Dragon Claw will need to be used for it. This is going to be run max speed. Unfortunately, I can't run an Adamant Nature. This is because the Heracross, which I'm also somewhat worried about, is also base 85, so this allows us to speed tie that Heracross. Figgy Berry will allow us to take a small hit and then regain HP. So, for instance, the Kartana can't do more than 50% to this, unless he's running Psycho Cut, in which case he can do a little bit more. The Milotic, if it runs Ice Beam, can't do 50% against this particular build. So the Figgy Berry will hopefully get us into a good position after the Belly Drum. This is it for the team builder. So we'll get into the battle and see how this worked out. Welcome to the battle portion of the video. I'm looking at his team in the preview screen here, and I noticed there's no Gligar, which is fantastic. There's no fighting types, so not Hitmonchan and not Heracross, which is also great. No Mega Ampharos, although I did prep pretty heavily for it. So looking at his team, Alola Marowak does work here. There's only one Mon on that team that doesn't potentially get one hit by Alola Marowak, and that's Milotic. I do not think under any circumstances he actually will lead Milotic. I expected that he would lead maybe Necrozma, a defensive Stealth Rocks variant, or just lead up straight up with Tapu Bulu. So we're going to get in the battle. I'm going to throw the Marowak out. He's actually going to throw Auroras out. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Flame Charge here, expecting him to potentially switch. But he goes for the Stealth Rocks. Now, at this point, I'm faster than anything on his team, minus Kartana. I do not think he's going to switch Kartana in here. I think he's going to expect something like a Flare Blitz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for Bone Meringue. That's going to do significant damage to anything that he can put in, unless it's Tapu Bulu. And it'll just do just enough to Tapu Bulu that Flame Charge can finish him off. So we'll go ahead and go for that Bone Meringue. He's going to stay in with the Auroras, and Auroras is going to go down. He's going to send in Milotic, which is pretty predictable. Here, I want to go ahead and make my own prediction. I don't think, now that he's seen that I'm Flame Charge, I don't think he's going to expect me to stay in. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go for a knockoff here. This will allow me to both calculate what his defense is, what his defensive investment is, and it will also allow me to nix his item, and hopefully I can switch into Como-O and start setting up against this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that knockoff, get the leftovers. He's going to drag Intel Me out into Como-O. So based off this calculation of how much damage the knockoff did, we know he is max defense, max HP. There's almost no way he can be anything else. Most likely here, he's going to go for a recover. There's no way he's going to die from any hit that Como-O can possibly have unboosted. We already know that he's got the Dragon Tail, so he's not too worried about us boosting with our standard moves, which would be like Autotomize or Rock Polish or Dragon Dance. So we can go ahead and safely go for Belly Drum here. No way he kills us from this. He goes for the recover predictably, and then we go Dragon Claw. So remember what I was saying back in the team builder, if you watch that part. Drain Punch, not a guaranteed kill against this Milotic. That's why we had to calculate what he was. Dragon Claw was a 98.6%, so almost guaranteed kill. It would have been great to go for the Drain Punch so that we could conserve Como-O's HP. Had we gotten the kill with that, and had we actually gained that HP back, we may have actually just been able to completely sweep him from here. That was not a safe play, though. I didn't want to go for that. I wanted to go ahead and just get rid of the Milotic right now, because that was Como-O's whole job anyway. So he's going to send in Kartana, kind of predictably, and he's going to Psycho Cut. He's going to lose a little bit of HP. This tells us he is not Scarfed, which is important to know. However, it is a very bold move of him to not run Scarf Kartana, considering that I have Greninja that I've played almost every time, and I also have Mega Diancie, which outspeeds him by like 1 base speed that can also OHKO him. I kind of thought he would have Scarf Kartana as basically his answer to the Greninja and the Mega Diancie, but maybe he thought that I wouldn't bring them specifically because of that reason. I'm not sure, but he's not Scarfed. So, he's got plus attack, so we're going to switch into Celesteela. It's forcing him out. Go for an Air Slash just in case he decided to stay in. It is going to miss, which is not ideal, but we are going to be able to survive that hit and go for our Ground EMZ, knocking the Magneton out. It's important to note that Magneton does have Magnet Pull, and I kind of expected that that was going to be the case, hence our investment into just enough HP that we would guarantee survive that hit. Thankfully, he wasn't sturdy. If he had been sturdy, he actually would have been able to kill the Celesteela here. But that's just the way it goes. He's going to send out Kartana. We're obviously going to let the Celesteela go down. There's no real reason to leave him in. And now we're going to go into our other Kartana counter, the Silvally. So we will survive the hit easily. We will go for the Thunder Wave. We will hit, thank goodness. And then we'll go for the Tailwind. He'll be fully paralyzed. Go ahead and go for the Defog as well, because there's no reason not to. And he'll go for a knockoff, expecting potentially a switch. At this point, we can send in Marowak, and we can just Flame Charge to our heart's content. Everything else kind of dies to him. So here he sends in Tapu Bulu. We're going to go for that Flame Charge again. He's going to go for a Horn Leech. It's going to do a significant amount of damage, but not too much. And he's still in range of Flame Charge. He's going to Protect. That is going to allow him to survive this hit with a combination of his leftovers and grassy terrain, but he will be at very low HP after this. It does go for Leech Seed. I did think at this point he might be able to wear down the Alolan Marowak, but if he did, he'd be low enough that Wheezing and Thundurus would probably be able to uh, clean up after this. And his only option here is to go for a second Protect in a row. He is going to fail that. We are going to kill him with Flame Charge. At this point, all he has is Necrozma against a +3 speed Marowak. Obviously, we're going to outspeed him, no matter what item he is. However, it's important to note here that a fully defensively invested Necrozma does not guarantee die to Shadow Bone. In fact, it's like sub 20% chance it dies to Shadow Bone if it's like that. I assume that if he's held the Necrozma back this long, it's either because it's defensive in nature or because it's some sort of strange Scarf Sweeper. So just in case, I'm going to hit Knockoff here. I know that will not kill Necrozma, but I know that it will get rid of a Scarf. It will put it in range of Thundurus, no matter what his build is, and it is just the overall safer play. If he happened to be Scarf here, there is a potential that he could somehow manage to win this game. I don't want that to be the case. Not leaving it up to chance, so I am going to go ahead and let Marowak go down here just to check that item. Go for the knockoff. It is leftovers. It does show that he is some sort of defensive variant. I think he was actually specially defensive, so Shadowbone would have actually killed him. Then we go for the Thunderbolt, and we wrap it up. So overall, we had a plan. We had a very particular strategy for each Mon that we brought. We executed it. We managed to win the game. Good game to Abrant, especially like with the prep for the Kartana, expecting that I would not bring things faster than it because I assumed it would be Scarf. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Props for bringing Auroras and Magneton, especially Magneton. I didn't realize how much damage it did before I was prepping for this game. But yeah, GG. And I'll see you guys next week for week 8. Have a good one.